joyful news, no announcement to be had, just a child unwanted. I never wanted a moment of their lives, and for such a small price they take a little life, believing it's not human, although they knew it and did it anyway. If they only knew the Savior, Redeemer, if they only knew that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we are fashioned for the glory of His name, fearfully and wonderfully made, and given life that God alone can take, He alone can take. Oh. And these children had no voice, and these children had no choice, and the hands that had harmed them missed the joy they could have had. If they only knew the Savior, Redeemer, if they only knew, in a world where the animals have more rights than boys or girls, it's time to stand. And where two wrongs make a right, and they justify it in their minds, it's time to stand and say that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we are fashioned for the glory of His name, fearfully and wonderfully made, and given life that God alone can take, He alone can take. Oh, in my mother's womb you nursed me. Oh, in the secret place you knew me and planned all my days before they ever came. Amazing God, out of everything You've made, we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we are fashioned for the glory of Your name, fearfully and wonderfully made, and given life that You alone can take, God alone can take. Oh. alone can take.
I was at a Baptist for Life meeting down in Savage. I don't even remember what the discussion was that night, but I thought, we ought to start a crisis pregnancy center in the Minneapolis area. I sent out letters to a number of the churches in Minneapolis-St. Paul area and suggested that they come to our church, West River Road Baptist Church, where I was pastoring at the time, as a steering committee and see what the possibilities would be of starting a crisis pregnancy center. Colleen and a couple of the other gals kind of checked in to see what other crisis pregnancy facilities there might be in the Twin Cities. We found this place over above Eggy's Restaurant in Crystal, and I don't remember now how much it was, but it wasn't nearly $2,000 a month. We opened up the facility in Crystal, kind of on a wing and a prayer. We never had a month go by but what we paid the bills, paid Colleen's salary. I shared those plans with some of the pastors around the cities, and I remember one pastor in particular, he said, "You'll never be able to do it without state funding." And I said, "We are not going to take any government funding whatsoever. We're going to rely on the Lord, because we know that whatever the state or the federal pays for, they soon will run. Tell us what we can and cannot do." We didn't want those restrictions. Praise the Lord for what He has done. Thank you for being a part of it. Some of you got on at the very first, and a lot of you have gotten on since that time. We thank you. We're still as convinced now as we were back then that this is something that needs to happen with a good, godly setting for these ladies.
Welcome to our celebration of life. While we would much prefer to gather in person, that's not possible this year. Instead, we have prepared a presentation of testimonies from individuals whose lives have been touched through this ministry. Come along with us to see how love, compassion, and boots on the ground save lives and impact hearts. At the conclusion of this broadcast, you will find links to our annual report and opportunities to consider a financial gift. We are mindful that 2020 has been a challenging year for many people, and we deeply appreciate your generous and sacrificial support. At our Crystal office, and from our Amazing Grace Maternity Home in Fridley, our staff and volunteers pray that the individuals we encounter will see life, both physically and spiritually, with 2020 vision. Your gifts of material aid and financial donations bring hope into the hard situations our clients face. More than 360 babies' lives have been spared from abortion since we opened in 1990. This spring, one woman trusted Christ as her personal Savior, and 2 clients chose to be baptized through our local churches. Even a global shutdown could not stop the impact of the gospel. Since March, we have had to change our service model and adapt to different guidelines, but we never stopped serving. Our staff provided caring, practical assistance to clients by arranging drive-by material aid like diapers, wipes, car seats, and other supplies. Thankfully, 2 babies' lives were spared from abortion during the shutdown because their moms found compassionate help and support at Metro Women's Center. Our clients come from diverse ethnicities and socioeconomic backgrounds. We invite you now to listen in as several of our clients share the impact your gifts have had on their lives.
When I first found out I was pregnant, I cried.
I wasn't sure what to do.
We had some financial problems because it was just one income.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I was in a very bad relationship.
Terminating was not an option.
I wouldn't have done anything but to keep the baby, even if I had no food to eat.
I knew for a fact that abortion was not the answer.
I just needed guidance how to relieve my stress and go past this.
But at the same time, I was really scared.
In my head, I did not want to bring a child into this world being stuck in an environment with toxic parents.
I was actually recommended this place by a pastor friend of mine when I was pregnant with my previous child.
So I was at work talking to one of my friends who is also pregnant. And I was like, I don't know what I will do.
I found a family that I wanted to place my child with.
I talked to Hope about it a lot, and one of the things that she mentioned was how comfortable she felt coming here and how helpful a resource it had been in her previous pregnancy.
The social worker that I was with is very connected with the Metro Women's Center.
I also needed a lot of help and was really nervous about all that was going on.
You know, sometimes I was just like, well, I just want to, meet up with someone or, get together with somebody who understands a little bit more about what I'm going through.
I knew the staff here and that how helpful they were, and I knew right away that this was a good option to come here for this pregnancy as well, even though we chose to parent Eliza.
And then she said, oh, well, I have a friend here, contact Metro Women's Center.
And they have been very helpful along this whole process, before and after.
That's kind of where the support there started.
So when you're kind of a younger couple starting out, it is difficult to make ends meet sometimes, and to learn that you have a baby on the way can also be very financially stressful.
The baby clothing, boys' clothing is never the cheapest. I can't afford them.
The clothes he's wearing is from here, everything.
The onesies help me a lot. Those 2 pieces of clothes, and they're not old.
I got gifts from here for my baby. I got clothes for my baby. I even got some pregnancy clothes for myself.
It was very helpful to be able to come here to Women's Source and be able to get some of the things that we needed, whether that was diapers or wipes.
Maternity clothing, the diapers.
So it was very helpful to be able to come here and get education, and then use some of the points that we got from that to get some of the things that we need for Eliza.
I can't tell you how blessed I've been.
I truly appreciate it.
Coming to the Metro Women's Center, it was more like, all right, so what do you need?
I just can't imagine what a lifesaver this center have done for me. Watching those videos teach me a lot.
Being able to come in and talk to Colleen and ask her specific questions that I had about having a baby and the birthing process, what would happen before and after.
And I learned a lot, how to take care of your baby, how to be a good parent, how to, treat them with love and respect.
Someone to listen, but not just listening to hear me, but listening to understand.
So yeah, I learned a whole lot.
The very first time I called Colleen, we talked for over an hour and a half.
Me and Colleen, we kept in contact so much.
It's like every week I have to come here. It's become a routine for me.
And she prayed with me, and we made a set time and date for me to come to the center.
I would like to thank Colleen so much, because sometimes you come here, you down, but when you talk to her, she's so calm. Even Rochelle, they talk to you, they are so nice and warm, I'm telling you.
It's kind of funny when we were together. A lot of people think we look alike, so everyone thinks she's my mom.
So once I came and met with her, we was inseparable ever since.
So staying at the Amazing Grace House was very helpful for me, because I got to be in a different environment that was very supportive of the pregnancy, and also helped give me realistic expectations for what would happen after if I parented my son or if I did an adoption plan.
At the point where I had started living at the Amazing Grace home, I really needed some more support in my life.
Whatever obstacles that was challenging for me, they were just there egging me on, just like, you can do it, you got this, woo. Once I actually moved into the house, it was like, those is like my parents, like I love them.
It really helped me just kind of solidify that I was supported and I was in a safe space.
They had a lot of resources available for us. Resources that I never even knew existed. They helped me flourish and be like, okay, I got my teammates.
They also helped me a lot with maintaining a job and with support for helping me pick out a family for my son.
And so the fact that I had them behind me, pushing me, cheering me on every step of the way, it's like that. But I loved it, and I loved them.
Since they have been through this with many women, they knew what I was feeling and how difficult it was to go through.
From what I learned here, I'm still applying it every single day.
Just having that support system around was very helpful for me, and they really helped me to see God's leading and what He wanted for my son and for me.
That's my heart right there. That's my heart.
To the people who donate, I would say thank you, because those donations make a large difference in our lives and in Eliza's life. It really takes some of the stress out and allows us to be there for each other and be there for Eliza.
You're not just donating for a cause, you're donating to change people's lives, not just their lives, but their children's lives. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm trying not to cry.
I will recommend this center for everybody, and I would love to see a lot of sponsors to make sure this center opens for a long time.
I would tell them, you don't know how many lives you've changed.
I just want to thank them. I mean, their kindness. I mean, I'm just out of words to express how grateful I am to them. Seriously.
You know, there's me, there's my son, there's his parents, his grandparents. You know, they're able to be grandparents, you know, and it's just like the chain just keeps going and going.
Like, just thank you for everything. Like, without their contributions, I don't know where I would end up.
I don't think they realize how many people they impact.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome once again to our 2020 virtual gala here at Metro Women's Center and Amazing Grace Home. My name is Jeremy Steffens. I serve on the board here at Metro Women's Center. As many of you know, our fervent desire in our ministry is for the individuals that we encounter to know life, both physically and spiritually, with this 2020 vision that you have been presented with here tonight. And these real life testimonies that you have just heard, that's what keeps us going. God gives us and continues to give us and our staff the courage to stand, speak truth about life in the womb, and speak truth about spiritual life found only in Jesus Christ. We continue to do this through all the churches and the church leadership and the missions programs and the individual members of churches that faithfully support us each year in prayer and financial support. We could not continue to do what God has called us to do without your help. Now, we all know a lot has changed this year, and that is no different for us here at Metro Women's Center and Amazing Grace Home. But let me tell you what hasn't changed. What hasn't changed is that women still face challenging pregnancy situations. Individuals still need physical, emotional, spiritual support. And we will continue to face these types of challenges in this ministry long after this pandemic is over. So when we as a ministry encounter these types of needs, I want to tell you, we plan on continuing to do what we've always done. Show up and love people like God has told us to. And to do this, we continue to need your prayer and your help and your financial support. Our financial goal for this event is $30,000 for our general operating funds. At the end of this presentation, we encourage you to catch the link over to our annual report, and you can see how our gifts have been used each year, how your previous gifts have been used, as we faithfully try to steward those gifts for God's glory. God has provided us friends like you and has provided for this ministry through friends like you. We have no debt, and we are committed to not incurring debt for our continued ministry operations. All of the services that we are able to offer, by God's grace, are free of charge, and we receive no government funding, and we praise God for that. In the upcoming months, one thing that we want to focus on is increasing our advertising budget to reach more abortion-vulnerable women and also strengthen our connections with local churches so that our clients can be friends, and they can find friends, and they can have advocates in the body of Jesus Christ represented in our local churches. We would appeal to you, our friends, once again, to help us meet this financial goal of $30,000. And we would ask you to prayerfully consider if God would have you join in supporting us this upcoming year. At the end of this presentation, you'll also find the link to various giving options. We just want to say thank you again so much. We so deeply appreciate your generosity, and we hope you are encouraged like we are with what God is doing in this ministry. Thank you for joining us and partnering with us in this God-honoring ministry.
1, 2, ready. Count your blessings, every little blessing. Go ahead and name them one by one. Why don't you count your blessings, every little blessing? See what the Lord has done. Please go ahead and count your blessings, every little blessing. Name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. When you're feeling tempest tossed, so discouraged, thinking all is lost, count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, every little blessing. Go ahead and name them one by one, one by one. Why don't you count your blessings, every little blessing? See what the Lord has done. Please go ahead and count your blessings, every little blessing. Name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done.
Are you burdened with a load of care? The cross is heavy, you must bear. Count your blessings, every doubt will fly. Every doubt will fly.
You will be singing as the days go by, go by. Count your blessings, every little blessing. Go ahead and name them one by one, one by one. Why don't you count your blessings, every little blessing? See what the Lord has done. Please go ahead and count your blessings, every little blessing. Name them one by one, and it will surprise you. And it will surprise you, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings one by one. Oh, count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done.